Group 9.
Salam walaikum. Walaikum salam. Which one? Okay, so we at the last minute decided to become infrastructure. And we started off by looking at dividing into soft and hard infrastructures. And I guess the recommendations we have kind of relate to what the first group talked about, getting artists more into other non-art sectors and a kind of representation or an advocacy role, and getting artists' hands dirty in those things. So hard infrastructure was obviously housing. Like, this is all the structure that supports artists to do their practice. Housing, workspaces like studios and rehearsal spaces, front of house presentation spaces, galleries, venues, art schools, education institutions. Then in soft infrastructure, that's all our networks within sector and across sectors, social capital, our education training and professional pathways, people. Then we kind of drilled into what our original topic was, which was finance, and we looked at just the different kinds of financial support, the forms that it takes, from government funding to earned income to private support, private sector, philanthropy. Can you scroll down, Scotia? So on that, do you want to... So that's kind of talking within the existing framework, but I guess a key point was the new economy, or looking at ways of changing or shifting the dialogue and discussion around what the economy could also look like, and connecting with the existing movements on new economy. Yep.
I just wanted to add that I thought our group was shit hot, because we actually had a really nice diversity in terms of the positions that people had. Like, we had someone who from academia, we had someone from MPAG, we also had indie artists, people coming at it from like a social entrepreneurship background. So thanks Arts Front for bringing us all together. I was very excited by that. Yeah.
And also that we had not enough time, I don't think anyone had enough time to come up with recommendations, and it did feel like a little bit tokenistic, but we went with it. But I think it's important to say that, yes, these recommendations have come out of a very rushed conversation. So the first recommendation is that the working group continue to discuss ideas raised and what models financial modelling could be adopted within the new economic framework. And specifically that means, and I guess I'm putting my name on that one, to bring artists into the discussion and involvement with the emerging new economy movement, and what capacity building is needed to support this exploration. Yep. Do you want to do recommendation 2, Rani?
Yes. So we floated around the idea that peak bodies will work together to develop 2 to 3 key messages and submit to the Senate inquiry on innovation and creativity, which is open right now, and due 13th of January. Is Julianne still around if you want to talk to... Did you want to talk to that one? About... was it a Beth one?
Yeah, but I think
okay.
Yep.
what we want to do is to feed into that.
What we want to do is feed into that, because it was actually exactly what we were talking about, how the arts is being left out of some really key conversations.
And
Um,
sorry. Incoming.
Sorry, just to affirm, we talked about the strength of having multiple submissions, that while we have 2 or 3 shared themes, then others add other arguments, so we don't look like we're just sending a form letter. But that...
Other sectors as well.
Yeah, so it's not to be exclusive to peak bodies. There could be other groups here that form and want to do something.
Yep. And then finally, recommendation 3. So this came in at the end. This is just another example on how we didn't exhaust the number of options for where artists could spread their influence. But in the City of Sydney, there is a 100 Resilient Cities initiative, and at the moment, that's a tender won by City of Sydney. It's pretty much being run by engineers and scientists. They don't have any artists or cultural workers involved in that, and we think that's pretty important to be involved with. Great. That's it.
Thank you.
Great.
10, Bill, where are you?